All right, everyone. So thank you so much for the introduction. I'm very happy to be joining you today from Shanghai, and have of course cheated a little bit and have prepared a presentation that I will then share with you. I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. All right, so just comment along the way if there is anything with the sound or if it's anything else. And then, of course, I look forward to the Q&A also after. So firstly, many thanks to Elisa, Lars, and NCCC for inviting me to take part in this, this webinar. With a very suitable title, I would say, Norwegian Seafood Meets Shanghai. So here we are, or some of us at least that are in China. I am sitting in Shanghai at the NSC office that we share with Team Norway, so Innovation Norway, and also the consulate here in Shanghai. Much appreciate to have the opportunity to meet all of you in the way that we commonly do meet nowadays, digitally. I just have to say, so as country director of NSC in China, I firstly got better acquainted with NCCC in relation to the state visit back in 2018, where NCCC and Elisa gave a valuable contribution to the seafood program. Last year, of course, as already mentioned by Elisa, NCCC coordinated the joint Norwegian stand at CIIE. And I just want to say that we very much appreciate the collaboration with NCCC and, of course, your continuous effort to create valuable arenas such as today. So with that, the overall agenda for my presentation now is basically to give you an update on the Norwegian seafood trade to China year to date, and share some views on the China market development and outlook. I will also give you an update on activities and programs that has taken place in Shanghai and in China now the most recent time. And for all of us, of course, 2020 has been a quite different year than we initially had foreseen. And situated in China, I feel fortunate to be in a place where daily life is recovering well. At the same time, we are still very much in an extraordinary situation where also extraordinary measures in place continues to influencing trade and business, as we will see. So just firstly, a little bit about the NSC then. So the Norwegian Seafood Council, NSC in short, we have a very clear mandate and mission. That is to develop markets for Norwegian seafood together with and on behalf of the Norwegian seafood industry. We have offices in 15 of the most important markets for Norwegian seafood. And in China, we have been present for more than 20 years. Today, seafood from Norway has a strong position in the market, and it is exactly because of the close partnership between the Norwegian and Chinese seafood industry, and of course, the long-term investment in the market, that we now have the position and the basis for working on board. So in the world of seafood, we say that origin matters, and globally, Norway is renowned as a seafood nation. Firstly, of course, because of our natural conditions, but equally important is the management systems that we have in Norway, as well as the Norwegian seafood industry's focus on development, and of course, its commitment to sustainability. To this end, Norway today is in fact the second largest exporter of seafood in the world after China, and this is something that we are quite proud of. In 2019, Norway exported seafood worth of 107 billion Norwegian crowns, And China was in fact the largest growth market, not only when we talk seafood overall, but also for salmon specifically. Then year to date, the picture is somewhat changed. And of course, this comes as a result of the special circumstances this year. Still, a great share of seafood from Norway is exported to China, and we generally see an increasing interest for seafood from Norway products across species. In the China market, our focus areas are Norwegian Arctic cod or the Norwegian cod. We work with mackerel, salmon, of course, and then new of this year, we also work with shellfish species. And these are then the species that we are doing investments on and that we see a great potential for. So far this year, looking at the trade, January to November 2020, Norway has exported then seafood to China worth of 3.6 billion crowns. And this is a decline of 24% compared to the same period last year. And the changes in many ways then follows the developments and events that we have seen in the market. And I will also come slightly back to that. So when the pandemic hit China beginning of year and following measures that came in the aftermath of this, this immediately affected food service and out-of-home consumption. And not being able to eat and enjoy seafood out of home also meant that demand was dropping. Logistical implications also played a part to the development that we saw. But during the spring, and you can sort of see this also on this graph here with the from the month-by-month development, the export from Norway was recovering. With consumers being more at home, we at the same time saw a shift. So being at home, caring for your families, cooking, experimenting, as we actually see across markets, the demand for seafood was also recovering and growing. From June, we have seen some incidences more directly relating to seafood in the market. Firstly, we had an incident in June addressing salmon. And since summer, in the market, cold chain food packaging has also been linked to the coronavirus. And I think altogether, these sort of events have, unfortunately, I have to say, affected consumer sentiment. And here, of course, it should also be stressed that coronavirus does not affect seafood safety. And of course, events taking place applies to all, are not connected to Norway specifically in any ways. So this slide is interesting because it shows the salmon weekly figure. So we follow the trade very closely, and week by week we see how it sort of goes up and down. So every Wednesday. So today we have new weekly figures coming. So looking at the weekly figures for salmon, the red line here then is being this year, and the blue line is last year. And it's illustrating how the trade has been fluctuating, both with highs and with lows. From early fall, we have seen a steady recovery in the market, and the trade recent weeks, as also shown here, in fact show trade at the same levels as last year, which then is a very positive indication and trend that we are following. This also just shows the overall market and something to take note of. So looking at the China total salmon market from January to October and market shares then. So year to date, we do see, unfortunately, a quite sizable drop in the salmon import. But after 2 slow months in July and August, the market is recovering. And of course, as already mentioned, trade in this year has to be viewed in light of the special circumstances and related events. And when it comes to salmon specifically, but this also goes across the portfolio of different seafood products we are working on, the underlying trend as seafood, as goes for salmon, as a healthy and tasty seafood are very strong. Chinese, we know, do have a strong liking for seafood, and moving forward, we are very confident that demand will continue to recover and grow. All right, so looking a little bit into then recent activities, and Elisa mentioned it, one of the key events taking place in Shanghai this fall, of course, has been the CIIE. So while challenged by unprecedented events and extraordinary measures in China, in Shanghai, we have been able to conduct events close to normal. Special measures apply, but still. And here is then a selection of recent activities NSC has conducted, but also that we have taken part of Team Norway. In addition to more offline events, one key investments on our behalf this fall have of course been to conduct a comprehensive digital media campaign on salmon, exactly to then present qualities of our products where the consumers are, which is digital. So also wanting to just highlight CIIE. So the mid photo here, you see the acting general consul from the Norwegian CIIE networking event in relation then to the expo. So CIIE this year impressively was hosted as scheduled in November, and a number of Norwegian companies took part in the expo and related programs, representing then Norwegian industries taking part in the prestigious fair. And moving forward, as also mentioned by Elisa, we also look forward to seeing how we jointly can have a suitable participation at the expo next year. Turning then to some market trends and developments. So clearly this year has brought about change. For consumers specifically, this is visible in shopping and eating behavior. Online and e-commerce commerce platforms create new opportunities for promotion and education. Healthy living has become increasingly important, and food safety a pursuit and added priority, I would say. Traceability, safety, sustainability are keywords. In the food industry, the food sector, there is much talk of convenience products that caters to consumers, increasing focus then on safety. And in the bigger picture, of course, China's economic recovery is notable, providing future optimism. While measures in place remind us that these are still extraordinary times. One of the things that the Seafood Council that we do then on behalf of the industry across different markets is something that we call a Seafood Consumer Index. And this is then conducted annually across markets for Norwegian seafood, but we cover a broad range of topics, and the purpose really is to understand consumer eating behavior, trends, preferences when it comes then to seafood, but also some more general trends. So this also is then the largest seafood consumer study in the world. And in China, this study was conducted now in March this year. So we need to keep the timing in mind, but it nevertheless provides some insightful points on the Chinese consumers' position. Based on the study, a majority of those that we have asked are leaning towards and seeking a more sustainable diet, a more safe, sustainable diet. And country of origin is a reference for quality when choosing, in this case, seafood. And highlighting products, features on sustainability also raises the willingness to pay. We also know, based on this study, that origin matters when choosing seafood. And then this we have more insight on for those that are particularly interested in, and then some seafood consumer studies. So that has been the market developments so far. To just sum up a little bit on the points that I have presented. So China, as many of you know, is the largest seafood market in the world. And Norway and China share a long-standing partnership when it comes to seafood. With a population increasingly better positioned to then choose quality products, better quality products. Of course, China represents some notable opportunities for a range of industries, also for seafood. And in the current time, tackle the pandemic, continue to influence trade and consumption, and this also applies for seafood. Nevertheless, the position remains unchanged. We see China as a very important growth market and remain very confident when it comes to the future market potential and the increasing scope for trade collaboration. All right, Elisa, then I think I've gone through my my presentation.
Yes.
Here.